Welcome back. Today we are going to continue our discussion on overcoming a habit or a pattern with pornography. I've just put out my program, Quantum Upgrade Personal Transformation, which is a totally different way of approaching overcoming a pattern or a habit with pornography. It incorporates so much good stuff: energy work, meditation, inner child work, internal family systems, getting really to that root cause, the getting really to that root cause of what is keeping the habit perpetuated, and understanding more about your desire and that pull and that draw you may have to pornography. And what is really unique about this program as well is not only are we helping a ton of people overcome their habit with pornography, but we are using a portion of those proceeds to support rescued trafficked children who have been through absolutely horrific things, who really need our support at this time, always. So with that, I want to continue this discussion because as I started putting out some content just to create awareness of that program and all of the impact that it's already having, um, I had a lot of people asking for more, like, can we understand more about the components of the program? Can you give us some more tips and tricks? Can you give us a sample or a flavor? Absolutely. So in this and the next few discussions we're going to be having, I want to dive into some of those topics. And if they're of interest to you, of course, you can go to Quantum Upgrade Personal Transformation, my course that's on Learn Worlds, or I'll put a link below. But I really want to give you something to start thinking about how you might approach this if it's something in your life that you may want to change. And by the way, I want to mention, and I did mention this in another conversation, but one of our viewers was like, hey, this was really great. Thank you. It's also supporting me in overcoming a habit with something else that I've been working through. So absolutely, tools and strategies that I use are ones that can be applied to other areas of your life. I do want to say, as we're getting into this discussion, I am not a sex therapist. I did not go to school to help people overcome sex and pornography addictions. I began this work in the work that I'm doing with doctors, executives, and entrepreneurs, in coaching these individuals through a number of different things, and in engaging in personal development and leadership development, and in my own journey of understanding habits, patterns, and addictions. I have put together a really valuable collection of resources that support people in overcoming or adjusting things in their life. When there's something that we want to understand better and then either reorganize or completely reprogram, that's doable. There's so much data and so much science and so many videos here on YouTube all about neuroplasticity and the incredible power that we have to create just about any result that we want in our life. And as I've been working with people and they've been coming to me with what to them is a very private and serious situation, I've been able to support them utilizing this range of tools that I've collected over the years that have worked for me and many other people. So let's today talk about the achievement of the goal that you're after. And the first thing we want to do when we are looking at any habit or pattern that we want to reprogram is we want to know exactly what is the goal. We want to think in terms of achievement. We want to think in terms of success. So what is your goal? Do you want to cut back on something? Do you want to completely eliminate something? Do you want to start doing something or more of something? What is your goal? You need to be very crystal clear on this. And when you have your goal in place, I want you to write it down. Have it written in a place that you're going to see often, so that as you're going throughout your day and as you're going throughout your week, you can have that visual reminder of the thing that you are working on. This becomes really important when we're prepping our day. This becomes really important when we are prepping for sleep. And like I said, throughout the day, as we're continuing to keep momentum and making choices that impact the trajectory of our achievement to that goal. The next thing that I want you to think about is how you want to be as you're achieving this goal. And so the achievement of any change, particularly ones that require reprogramming, is going to be a process rather than a light switch flip. And in that process, you want to ask yourself, what do I want my energy to be like? What do I want my commitment level to be like? And what does that actually look like? So if I say I want to have a high commitment to this goal, okay, what would high commitment look like? What actions would I be taking? What actions would I not be taking? How would I be thinking? How would I be feeling? And I even talked in one of the other videos about, like, what would my posture be? So if I'm a person that is committed to this goal, what would my posture be? How would I talk about the thing? What jokes would I participate in? What media would I engage with? All of those things need to be really, really clear and visualized so that as you're going throughout this process, you can gauge whether or not you're on track. And if you're off track, how far off track and what made you get there. That reflective process will be really important. The next thing that I want you to think about, and it's really, like I said, we want to think in terms of success. It's really important to start creating a relationship with that future version of yourself and ask yourself, once I get there, once I've achieved this goal, I'm a person who has reprogrammed this. I'm a person who no longer does this. I'm a person who always does this. Whatever that goal is for you, once you've achieved that goal, now what? Okay, because what we see a lot of is almost getting to the goal or getting to the goal and then having a relapse or having a revert back to prior patterning and behavior. And there are reasons behind that. But before I get into those, which I'll probably do in another video, what I want to do here is just encourage you to really understand that we don't just want to reach the goal, we want to know then what? How are we going to be once that thing is no longer a pull or a draw in our life? Because what can happen is we now have this additional energy to put somewhere. Prior to this work, you've been putting the energy into your habit or the pattern that you want to change. Going into the work, you're putting the energy toward overcoming and reprogramming and adapting new patterns and habits, right? The healthier ones. Once you've achieved that goal and you no longer need to work toward it, where are you going to put that energy? What are you going to do instead? How are you going to be instead? What will you be committed to? And what will that look like? Those are all really, really important questions to ask yourself. And along those same lines, you want to ask yourself, once I'm there, how can I make that along the way? How can I begin making that an automatic process? So I'm not resisting and having to ask myself every single time, do I want to do this? Or in this situation, do I engage with that? How do we automate the process of making healthiest choices for you? This is also a really important component to creating long-term success is getting really real with yourself and asking yourself, what will be the price if I don't do this thing? If I don't follow through, or if I get to the goal and then I revert back to old patterns and behaviors, what is the cost going to be? And usually it's significant. And the reason I know that it's significant is I've had experiences in my own life where going back on something that I was making progress in was not only emotionally significant, but there are other costs involved, such as your relationship with others and the hope that they were starting to have in the new result, or the commitments that you made and now you're pulling back on those, or even and especially your relationship with yourself, where you were starting to develop confidence in your progress that you were making in an area, and then you revert back, and now you've got to deal with that. And so there is a real expense to not following through. And the reason that this portion of the work is so important is because we need to have a really compelling reason to make a change, especially one that's going to be uncomfortable, like reprogramming a habit or a pattern in our behavior. And we need to be really clear on why we're doing that. And so it's no longer just, well, that would be nice. We need to know the expense or the cost to us if we don't, or if we go back on it. And sometimes that can be the reason that even though we're going through a moment where we're having a lot of temptation or we feel a really big pull to do something, being able to just sit with that feeling for a moment, because it, by the way, will pass. Usually within 90 seconds, if you allow a feeling to come into your body, it will start to dissipate. So having that knowledge of what will happen if I give in, what will happen if I go back on the progress that I've made, can be the strength that you're going to need in a moment where you're finding it really challenging to follow through on your goal. And then lastly, and this is the most beautiful part, what will happen or what are the possibilities? How good can it get if I do follow through? How good can it get if I do stay the course? How good can it get if I'm no longer a person that does this thing, or I'm always a person that does this thing? When we eliminate unhealthy things from our life and replace them with healthier things, and this is true for lots of areas of our life, but when we get rid of some of the yuck and put in some of the beauty, life just transforms in the most beautiful ways. And so get really clear on, for you, if you decide to embark on this journey, and it is a journey, like I mentioned, but embark on this journey of making a change and staying the course and sitting through the discomfort, creating, by the way, a wider range of comfort. The more uncomfortable we're willing to be temporarily, the more comfortable we can be in a wider range of comfort. And succeeding, how good can your relationships get? How much more energy will you have? How much clearer will you think? How much more money will you have or save? How much closer can you get to the other goals in your areas of life? How much more connected can you feel to the people around you? All of these are areas that we want to think about and discover as we're embarking on this journey. And it's this deep thought work and the level of investment that we make in ourselves that has everything to do with the progress that we're able to make and the longevity of the results that come from that progress. So, let me know in the comments below what questions you have, what progress you're making, and what other types of content you like around this. And I will continue going into different topics of the course content. And as interest is shared and as comments are made, we'll know where you guys are needing the most support at this time. So that's all for today. Have a great day. I appreciate you joining me for today's episode. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the show to help you create the life you truly desire.